They don't want $1 million in the bank, they just want $1 million on TikTok.
Yes, YouTube, welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here, my name is Joe Jeffrey. I'm one of the co-founders of Physique Collective. And we are here in beautiful Stafford today at Intent Gym to meet with, train with, pose with Mr. Train with Intent himself, Ryan Turner. Ryan is one of my clients. He's 6 days out of the first show of the year, regional, in the UK bodybuilding calendar. So we're going to do some cool stuff, talk about some cool topics, hit some cool poses, and take you guys through the day. My beautiful wife, Jasmine Jeffrey, made up this gift pack for Ryan. I'll be honest, this is the second time filming this, so it's not going to be like as it was the first time. If anybody hires Spectre Visuals, he's great, but just make sure he's turning the audio on the mic. So, how's this for acting? Hey Ryan, have this gift.
It's very kind. Thanks, Jazz, and thanks, Joe. But yeah,
I have no idea what's in here.
I can't remember what I said first.
Irish chicken.
See, now she's looking 1 week out. She's on mock peak. Yes. We're happy. We're very happy.
Happier than yesterday.
Yeah, a lot happier than yesterday. Kerry had a little bit of a meltdown yesterday after the 2 high days, worrying that she was fat. And I was like, give it a day, let's go for the clearance, like, get a little bit of a pump and it will all be good. She's happy again now. She's happy.
I don't know what you're on about. It's fine.
Right, we are going to take Ryan through what will be day 1 of his peak week training. Leg training is done. I don't tend to do really any tapered lower body training sessions with my clients. Their final leg day before their peak week is pretty much the last time they will train legs. So I think for Ryan that was Friday. The show's obviously 8 days later, shows on the Saturday. That's more than a sufficient amount of time to let any lower body inflammation drop off, and we're not worried about acute risk of muscle loss with a single week of detraining or anything like that, especially for the lower body with such a large amount of musculature, of which training can really negatively impact conditioning. That just stays out. At this point, training tapers quite heavily in terms of effort, in terms of frequency, and in terms of volume. We've got videos on the site on exactly how I would adjust your guys' training specifically to roll into a peak week. If you guys aren't members of Physique Collective and you don't want to dive into the specifics but just want a rough plan, treat it somewhat like a deload. I tend to half frequency. Ryan's training everything other than delts and biceps twice a week right now. Delts and biceps are on 4 days per week. We're going to drop everything down pretty much to 1 day per week. Other than delts and biceps, they're still going to get hit twice. Volume is going to half from where he finished his last mesocycle. Effort reduces down, pretty substantially. He's probably going to be training close to 7 or 8 reps in reserve at this point. But we use some proxies pretty much. We look at previous performances. We'll leave load where it is. Reps will drop by about 50%, which carries the effort and volume down. The sets will drop by about 50% also. So we need big fatigue reduction with just a small amount of stimulus. Now, I do shift training around a little bit in the latter days of the week with some clients if we want to use it as like a glucose disposal mechanism. That's not the case for Ryan. He's going to be backloading anyway. That will occur 2 days after his last training session. So practically every session from here is just a big fatigue taper. So we're going to do push workout today, but for Ryan that will be chest, triceps, lateral delts, biceps, big taper, but we'll try and make it look cool anyway. There won't be loads of screaming on this one. Sorry fans of intensity, but we do what we do to win the show, so see what goes on.
Lift off, lies and fibs to the rabbit sticks when the guys then pull up man hide and dip. They just want
I was watching some of your videos of length and partials the other day actually. It's quite interesting what you're just talking about, people almost accidentally doing length and partials.
Yeah.
So I've always just taken partials there because it's like, well, I've always gone by range of motion breakdown, perform shouldn't.
Yeah.
So if my ROM breaks down, I'm not really asked about really trying to squeeze that last bit or doing something just to get to a destination.
On that example of a row, where it's just getting so much heavier, but you've still got so much stimulus left that you could still take. You know, you could recruit higher threshold motor units than you have done by continuing the set here, or only performing the set there, treating that as the profile.
For me, especially on like lats and or upper back and ham curls, it tends to be like the biggest cue I'll give someone is don't worry about how far the rep goes or the destination. It's more like just make sure you're not necessarily staying on it, but you very rarely see me like I was saying, grind that last one out. It'll be more just accidentally going to partials and that range diminishing, which is where I struggle on deloads. Because I'm looking at these reps and I'm like, all right, I got 11 there.
So you got standard.
A couple of them might have been halves. So I've got to kind of pull it back.
It's less important for stuff like this that drops off.
Yeah.
But especially for like a dumbbell press or a Smith press. You know, that like just standardise your partials. That's what I do. I have like any pull down I do, I pull to my eye line. Or any like row I do, I'll pull to like 90 degrees. The most interesting thing and the most positive thing that's come from this like length and partial focus is that, and this wouldn't have ever been a problem for someone like you, but people are learning to get lengthened. Actually focusing on the lengthening, less about the partial thing. Like a row, like you just, without even thinking about it there, you would have been protracted and probably flexed at the spine. Whereas most people are just kind of, See, now I've quit bodybuilding.
Just want abs.
I just train abs every day. That's all I'm going to do.
When are we getting your ab ebook?
Ab ebook coming soon.
Ab routine.
2 rest pause every hour, every day.
Every hour of your life then you've got to do a set of sit-ups. Wherever you are.
That'll be the thing, like, if I can't grow anything else, I'll just get, you know, Big Lenny?
Yeah.
Shout out Big Lenny.
I'll
just get the Tom Platz of abs.
Yeah, he is good with abs.
Yeah, he's got perfect abs. Big Lenny. Shout out the Del Rey Misfits. Like that. That's OG bodybuilding stuff, that. Del Rey Misfits, Jason Genova, Andrew on the camera.
You've got more ab and testicular hypertrophy than any of us.
Testicular hypertrophy is extreme. I literally got stuck on the leg press yesterday because my balls were so swollen from the HCG use that the way I normally get out of it, because you have it set all the way to the bottom, I normally like arc one leg over the other, like slide out of it. But what I hadn't accounted for, obviously I'd never even thought about it because it's never been an issue, it's like my balls are so swollen. From HCG use, anybody watching it, it's not just some random reason. I couldn't anymore arc my leg to the same degree without it like crushing my balls. So I had to like slide out this way. It was a dodgy operation, but so the Adelphi HCG, I'm gonna say, is legit.
You got the same problem?
Nah. Man's got peanuts. I use the other Adelphi brands that make everything else well. Not the nuts, I don't need them anymore.
We lift off. Lies and fibs to the rabbit sticks when the guys then pull up, man, hide and dip. They just want clout and viral vids. I just want money and diamond rings.
Rest periods. So Ryan was just saying time in rest periods has been a good thing for him. So this is quite a topical thing at the minute because there's so much debate in the fitness space, rightfully so, and they're great debates and stuff that we want answers to with regard to things like training volume, like what volume should we train at, what body part, how many times, how many sets per session, how many sets per week, how close to failure should we train, things like this. And people look at, like a study came out this week, Menno Henselman's posted it and it went viral because participants were training with 7 reps in reserve. And I mean, I didn't even read the study because I thought the design was so ridiculous, but you know, we're looking at I think they had 40% increase in strength outcomes. And you know, but basically my point here is if you get compiling list of all of the data and you look at some of the discrepancies in these high volume studies versus low volume studies, what we see often is a difference in rest times. And if you want to train with lower volumes, you can absolutely do that and get wonderful results, if not even maximum results with a lower dose of volume, if you're resting for longer between sets. And if you want to train with high volumes to account for the difference, you might need to take shorter rest periods. Personally, I think I'd rather train with less volume and rest more rather than be in the gym doing 52 sets, it's a Brad Schoenfeld reference, of squats, versus maybe 12 sets a week with a longer rest period and a closer proximity to failure. But basically, a lot of these things come out in the wash. But timing rest times is important, not only for standardization of progression week to week, but also, this is a really rambly way of saying my original point, to have a good idea of what your current dose of volume is doing for you on an efficiency or productivity basis. So, yeah.
So this is where, like, over the last month with the tempos as well, keeping me fresh, but the rest periods, me and my training partner Matt were jumping off fucking sets, and I'm like 40 seconds in to like we're like jimping and everything, 5 to 8 rep, it's proper fucking heavy duty, low volume style. Low volume. Yeah. But we're getting off and we're like, I'm ready to go. It's like, oh, I've rested 30, 40 seconds. Yeah. We're essentially doing fucking dog crap rest pause sets the whole fucking way through, which is great fun. But then we've come to like, all right, rather than being like really ballistic with our training, work to these tempos, so you're controlling every like the end ranges, work to these rest periods so it's all standardized. But we've got the benefit of both, like you just said, you can either do a higher volume with less rest, or you can do lower volume with more rest. Well, we've been able to progress our reps, our weight at the same time as the volume because we've actually been having adequate rest.
Yes, it was really stimulus to fatigue ratio management, not only relevant to one movement or one session, it's relevant to the whole mesocycle. So controlling for those things is super important. And like we did a video on the app the other day, like talking about high volume or accumulation of volume, we often at Physique Collective, and I don't really know how this happened, people think we're like high volume trainers or accumulating volume trainers. Like, if you're doing 3 sets per body part per session to 0 to 3 RIR or wherever you're putting yourself on that framework, and you're progressing in load and or reps every single session and getting a good pump, a good bit of muscle damage after training with some soreness, don't change your volume, it's perfect. Leave it there, it's good. Just standardize things, track things, including rest times, load, reps, rest time, sets, and if it's working, let it keep working. You don't need to change things every single session in terms of sets, but you should be trying to progress load and or reps every single session. I would say in an ideal world, but don't go mad if you don't progress one session. Every 2 to 3 weeks, progressing even 1 rep is a big win in the long run.
Mine out, facing the odds, but I never did hide out. Dashed that phone, I never had iCloud. Came out of jail and then I put grime out. Purest heart to my life.
Bramblebee was telling me you have some kind of experience working with people with addiction or something like that.
A lot of my clients have helped with like addiction and more so.
What sort of addictions?
It's been drink, weed, sleeping fucking tablets, food, just any vice really.
Why have you attracted that cohort?
Because of the experience that I've had through being present during adversity rather than choosing to escape it. The content I put out, I guess it just attracted that person. There's 2 things I like to live by. I don't know if you follow someone called Wes Watson. Basically, he goes off, create the man you admire in all ways and give him to the world. So essentially, with everything, the struggles I'm overcoming, someone else has got to overcome. My job is to develop myself to the point where I'm the person I would listen to, so I can then help other people with that problem. It's just naturally evolved that way of like, I don't like the way I'm acting, I don't like how I'm not dealing with this thing, how I'm burying my head in the sand on this thing. And through the content I've put out, conversations I've had, the only problem with that is if I were to slip off, it's very hard to then have So
there's strong echoes of stoicism in those kind of mantras, man.
yeah,
I imagine you're into your...
naturally just flow to it. Yeah.
Oh yes, we could have long conversations on this stuff, man. I'm a philosophy buff. It's what I studied. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and I still spend probably about 90 minutes a day-ish on like actual...
I'm finding myself needing to get back to it.
Yeah, I could throw some sick recommendations, man.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want it, I'll send you my book list.
Yeah. It's never really lacking knowledge or application. Like there's certain things we've like worked together now, and it's like okay, these were the things I was missing. But to get me to a level that most of the people that come to me want to get to, most people don't need to learn more, do they? They know enough, but it's the application. I'm getting too carried away with this thing, and this thing. Just focus on being better today. Yeah,
there's something to be said for paralysis by analysis, and this sounds so rich coming from me, but over-optimization being a killer of progression.
I've got a lot of clients that I will, not a lot, but that flow through a couple at a time, a good handful at a time, that are either really packing out overthinking, and my job is to literally just keep it very fucking simple for them, not come in and overcomplicate it, not come in and give them 10 million more things to do. You've got two different types of people, I guess. There's loads of different types of people, but the way that my sort of coaching's kind of gone with the type of people I've attracted, like we're talking about, is and it's something else Wes Watson says, it's compression versus compassion. So I've got lads that like really overthink everything. I want to be optimal, and they come to you and they're like, oh, this and this and this, and I know about this and this and this. It's like, oh cool, let's see if I can apply yourself for a week to a plan then. Oh, I can't do it.
This is actually a philosophical argument here, because what you're essentially doing is you're breaking down the difference between conceptual outcomes and material outcomes. Okay. So the conceptual thing is the knowing, because we can't touch that we know. Like, you knowing something isn't a physical object, is it? But applying effort over time through action is material, and that's where people will fall in that camp. I think that's what you're saying anyway. Application of high effort over time is what's necessary and difficult.
Yeah.
But these individuals may know exactly what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But that's not the problem.
They won't apply themselves. He might be watching this, so if he is, he needs to fucking sort himself out and get his last meal in. Client struggling to get his meals in. Well, what about food selection and this and digestion? Oh, no, it's all good. Oh, okay. Yeah. A couple of weeks later, we found out you're smoking weed before you prepped your meals, and I've been there. And you go to bed because you can't be asked to eat that meal, and you fall asleep, and you go, oh fuck. It's
so
like
you
said you wanted it, and you claimed to know what you wanted to do. In that moment, am I going to give you compassion like you're giving yourself, or am I going to say, you're being a fucking bitch?
You've given an interesting example of something that I've watched happen with quite a few, I'm not going to say lots, but quite a few people that I know that are really smart in like the evidence-based fitness world, is that you can like placebo yourself into conceptualizing an excuse that makes rational sense. Like what you said is like, what about nutrient timing? I don't want to eat too close to bed because it might reduce my sleep quality. It's like and then you've fundamentally lied to yourself, but convincingly enough with some kind of evidence-based system. It's such an interesting concept, when really you should have just ate the meal. So we went so far into over-optimization that we ended up in the realms of like complicated biology.
And then when you've got the procrastination on learning and optimization, and well shit, I've missed my meal, and I just using that thing to procrastinate and feel like you've accomplished something in that realm or that field, when your actions aren't in alignment with it.
You've conceptualized yourself out of any outcome, which is like, it's crazy.
Blow man's mind out, facing the odds, but I never did hide out. Dash that phone.
I'm not allowed to do anymore.
At least you can train.
You forget.
I'm just doing 52 sets abs to failure.
You've been on that for like...
I'm on the Brad Schoenfeld protocol. 52 sets of abs a week. If I can't get abs that way, I'm done.
I only started putting a mill in them last week. I read the thing and I was like, I've only been putting 500,000 in my delts.
We're talking about sight enhancement. Ooh, controversial topic. It is used in competitive bodybuilding probably far more frequently than people will admit. But you rarely see the Nolatil types these days. I know there are some guys in Australia specifically that use, I don't know if it's Australia specifically, but that's just what I know of. Or that Esacline, Ecycline, I've never heard of anybody doing that outside of like Urban Legend. But Metaform, heavily used. And many of you guys know that I've been the distributor and stockist of Metaform for UK and EU, and this isn't a sales pitch, but what I'm actually trying to say here is whether you do or don't use it doesn't matter to me, but I see who orders it. I know exactly who's buying it, and I'm not here to like name names or anything or call people out because I'm not aware of anybody lying about not using it. But if you guys don't think that a good portion of pros, high level pros, amateur competitors, but I can tell you now for a fact, on the Arnold stage yesterday, there were 6 people on there that had purchased Metaform. So, all of this to say, whether you like it or not, it happens in bodybuilding. So, I guess that's my only point. And I use it with clients. It looks fantastic. You're not at risk of lumping, bumping, clumping, blurring condition. And it's far safer than blasting in a load of extra androgens to make up for the difference in lean body mass. So I'm a big fan. You guys know that I'm a big fan of Metaform.
You've got the big reveal coming up.
What's the big reveal?
The physique.
What, my physique?
your physique.
Yeah, that'll be the big reveal. The big disappointment. Yeah, so basically, session is done. Very easy, little bit of a pump, everything that is necessary for the peak week. And now I'm going to run Ryan through, well, I say I'm going to run it through. We're basically just going to run through quarter turns and mandatories. One, for you guys' sake, because he looks absolutely insane. But more importantly, as our in-person check-in for comparison at the beginning of the peak week. And the first time that I've ever seen Ryan pose in person.
Blow man's mind out. Facing the odds, but I never did hide out. Dashed that phone, I never had iCloud. Came out of jail and then I put grime out. Purest heart to my life, get signed out. Time of the grind, no help or handout.
Now man's up top, cause we didn't back down.
Ain't got money in the field, that's man down.
So man secure the bag for the mad route.
Link with a BIG, that's my guy.
Came with Lee and we connect like Wi-Fi.
Man got sound for the phone and hi-fi.
And if I get the TV back, that's
right, guys, that concludes our outing to Intent Gym. This is such a sick gym, guys. If you're ever in the Stafford area, I don't even know what kind of area this is. Around Birmingham, is it? Something near Birmingham? Whatever area this is, you got to check this gym out. The best kit. You've seen a lot of this kit in the doghouse. This is like the doghouse on trend. It's a shame I'm not training today. I'd love to get a proper session on these, but it's actually not as far away from my house as I thought it was, so I'll definitely be back. Guys, if you're a fan of Ryan's physique, his content's even better, or should we say just as good. So all of his details, all of his social media is going to be tagged below. If you want the best, I would say this, bodybuilding, education, entertainment stuff across all facets of physique development, check out the Physique Collective app on the App Store and whatever the other thing that those Android people use is. And we will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.
That's my guy.
came with Lee and we connect like Wi-Fi.
Man got sound for the